Um, Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's live trade session. So, as always, from the beginning, if you do have any questions, please post those through to me on your screens, and I'll do my best to respond to them during this particular session, or I will get back to you over the remainder of the afternoon. Markets are reasonably quiet in advance of the opening bell in New York, but we are at quite a precarious level for the Dow. The indicative level is pretty much where we closed yesterday, around 33,050, 33,040. The DAX has dipped below 15,000, and gold has had another rally this morning up towards the 1935 level, which again was rejected, and now trades at or just below 1925. It's currently trading. So thankfully today a couple of the gold trades have gone reasonably well. As you'll know from the last couple of days, gold has rallied really aggressively and has caught me out on a couple of occasions, notably yesterday and of course Wednesday. But we'll have a look at that in a little bit more detail when we look at the results for this week. So just in relation to other things in the markets that we look at the moment, I only have the one trade open, which is a short of sterling at 123.51. Not looking for a huge profit on that one. I have a TP in at 123.36. We're fairly close to that level at the moment. It's actually bid at that point at the moment, so if we see a slight tick off, you'll probably see that closing trade come through reasonably quickly. It's currently offered at 123.37. So gold has just dipped below 1924. So just going to have a look at a couple of these markets in a bit more detail. We'll start off with the Dow, which is obviously where I'm looking to trade around this opening bell. This is quite, so let's start off there. So this is a daily chart, so you can see a couple of things of note here. We have the 200-day moving average, which is a long way from where we are now, but I think the S&P 500 passed through the 200-day moving average earlier this week, and obviously signalling a more negative tone to the market. But we are off about 1,500 points from the highs that we saw at the beginning of last week. So, definitely in a more negative phase. One of the things that, I'll be looking for during the course of the day, I'll just take this out to a 4-hour chart, and you can probably see a little bit more closely the areas that I've been looking at. So just looking across here, so these levels are all coming in around 32,850. So you can see here that we've had significant support at this level every time that we've got down to this point over the last number of weeks and months. Going back here to slightly lower levels back here, but coming off of this level here, which was just before Christmas, 32,850, 32,850 or thereabouts, 32,850, 32,850, 32,850, and then we've had this rally to the upside, which took us all the way, as I've mentioned already, to about 34,300, 34,400, and we may have gone slightly above that intraday, and then we've seen this move back down towards these levels where we're hovering around the 33,000 mark. But every time we drop down to 32,950, I think as we did yesterday, and then potentially further down to this 32,850 area, the logic is that we should see a bounce around those points. So I do have a bid in at 32,860. It's 200 points away from where we're currently trading. and I will trade obviously around this opening bell. I have an offer in just above the market, above 33,125, I think it is. Just a level that over the last day or so, well, just the last day, that has seen a bit of resistance when we've got up there. So again, not looking for any big moves in the market. Happy to take 20 to 30 pips out of those trades, albeit if we do trade down to 32,850, that's going to be a longer term trade for me. Looking for something bigger to come out of those markets. Just going back to the daily chart, looking to see if we can see anything that's overbought or oversold. There's nothing there. On the 4-hour chart, does suggest that we've hit a bit of an oversold territory, and my inclination is, as you already know from the comments that I've already made, that if we do trade lower from this point, I'm certainly looking to buy on dips towards that 32,850 level. 950 could be that first entry point. It's only 100 points away from where we currently are, but I'll advise as we go through. So there are 2 orders already in the market. I'm not going to add to those. Unfortunately, the sterling trade didn't trigger at 36. We traded down to 123.37, so I'm still in that trade, unfortunately. But as you can see with the Dow, with less than 2 minutes to go now to the open, there is a bit of a movement to the upside. So my limit sell order probably coming into play at 33,128. Rather than the bid that I have in substantially below the market. So I'll talk a little bit about gold and sterling as we get to the end of this particular live session, or after the opening bell has gone. But as we get closer to that opening bell, just over 60 seconds or so to go now, we're trading back above 1925, and we're at 33,000 and in gold, 1925 in gold, and we're trading at 33,085 in the Dow. So I'm just going to widen that out, see where we move as I'm going to change this back to a minute chart just so that it gives us a little bit more focus on what's going on. So you can see that nice little move we've seen there in the last few minutes as the buyers start to come into this market. And the market for me has been really well supported around this 32,850 to 950 level, and I'm expecting more of the same today. I wouldn't expect it to break through, although if we see a lot of momentum coming into this market, there is a possibility. Here's the 950 level that we've seen over the last few days. So the market's getting close to open now, and let's see where that excuse me, initial move is. So it looks like we're open now, and the first push is to the downside. So trading down to about 33,035. Didn't really get close enough to my limit order. I think if we go down closer towards 33,000, it's a slightly more aggressive buy than I've necessarily been looking to take out today, but we're seeing some fairly big movements in both directions. As I said, buyers have materialized around these levels, and I believe will continue to do so throughout the remainder of today. So I'm just going to take the crosshairs out there and think about, we are a couple of minutes now, a minute or so after the opening bell, still drifting that little bit lower down towards 33,030, I think was roughly the low of that last little bit of trading. So just thinking that I might buy If we see another fall of 20 or so pips or so back down towards that 33,000 level, could be interested around there. So I'm just going to buy there, 33,039. Feel wasn't particularly good, but we'll just see how that moves over the next few minutes, and whether there is the potential for an exit. But the market is reasonably choppy in this period, as you would expect, around the opening bell, and we're kind of pushing back towards that 33,000 level. Whether there'll be a test of that level this early is yet to be seen, but for the time being, there's certainly a few more sellers at this particular point. So I'm going to hold on to that trade. We'll look at the markets in general, and see where we go from there. So still a bit of selling pressure coming in, trading down to 32,985 there, as you can see on the chart, but reasonably choppy in this early phase of the Dow today. So just in more general terms, looking at the markets, gold has traded off a little bit there to 1920, just dipped below 1922. Sterling has not really seen much of a movement at all. The Dow continues to drift and trade below this 33,000 level. I did mention earlier that it was looking slightly precarious in the earlier trading. I'm just going to buy around this level as well, 32,965, and see where we go from there over the next period. So I still have my bid in below the market, certainly the level that I'm more interested in. Just expecting a few buyers to come in as we drift down to these levels, and hopefully be able to take advantage of that if we see some movement back to the upside. So a couple of Dow trades on there, just looking for a move to the upside, and what we'll do in a few minutes is just look at the trades since the beginning of the week. There was obviously an exit there on the Dow that I wasn't exactly ready for, but we, as it traded up towards the 32,980 level, but I'll look to take advantage of that if we see a movement back to the upside. So gold continues to trade around 1922. We're not seeing too much movement in any of the other markets, and off about 100 points in the Dow since the opening bell. So unfortunately the limit sell that I had up there didn't quite trigger, but this 950 level, as I've mentioned already, has been a well supported level over the last number of weeks, and would expect something similar again today, unless we see some significant momentum coming into this market. So just bringing up the trades for the week, and how things have gone so far. So a small profit as it stands at the moment. As I mentioned, the week started particularly well. Monday and Tuesday wasn't too much that was really going wrong on either of those 2 days, just the one losing trade. Wednesday and Thursday caught up with that gold excuse me, a bit wheezy today, caught up with that gold position, which saw significant rally to the upside on both of those days. Short the market at 1907, 1914 on the Wednesday, higher levels on the Thursday, but the rally was persistent, to say the least, and more notably yesterday we saw a rally up as high as 1935, which saw me stopped out late into the day. The only advantage out of yesterday was that my stops were very, very tight on the day, and the damage was very much limited. Could have been significantly worse. So the Dow continues to trade around 32,955 as I'm talking. possibly a little bit higher. So our second entry point is about at the market at the moment, and I'll continue to monitor that as I go through the remainder of the session and join you again on Telegram in the very short, in the very near future. So I'm just going to close this. Just missed it again, unfortunately. Just looking at this this Dow trade, the second Dow trade, we've traded up to about 85 there. Just happy to take 25 pips out of it at this point, and then just see how this market settles down for the remainder of the day, back down to the entry point, unfortunately, at the moment. So if you do see the market trading up a little bit from these levels, I would certainly look to take profit on that second trade, and then let's see where we go from these particular points. As I've said already, repeated many times during this session, I do think buyers will continue to enter the market around these levels, 950, and then certainly 850 to hold during the remainder of this afternoon. What I'll do is I'll finish up here, get back to looking a little bit more closely at this particular trade and how that is moving, and hopefully be in a position to take a little bit of profit in the next couple of minutes or so. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'll be back on Telegram shortly. Thank you.